Will the Yoto Player replace reading? No. Does it work in the car without Wi-Fi? Yes, but only if you set it up first. I spent a dozen late night hours trying to find answers to these questions before we bought ours. And after 8 months with a 10-year-old boy using it constantly, I've learned a thing or two. These are the questions I pulled off Reddit and parenting groups, the stuff nobody with an affiliate link gives an honest answer to. I'm gonna move fast. Let's go. What's the upfront cost really going to be? The Yoto Player is $110, while the Yoto Mini is $80. But the Player isn't the whole setup. You're gonna want an adventure jacket. That's the silicone sleeve that gives it a lot more protection when your kid inevitably drops it. Another $20. Then cards. Most are $10 to $15, which you'll probably want 3 to 5 to start. So realistically, $175 to $200 to actually get going with a nice setup. Anyone who tells you this is a $100 purchase is leaving out half the cost. Is the Yoto Player worth the price? Look, if you can afford to spend $200 on a screen-free audio device setup, it's absolutely worth it. If that's a stretch for your family right now, it's not. My kids don't need a Yoto. They do need groceries. That's the honest answer. But here's why Yoto takes the edge over competitors. There's free content built in. Yoto Daily Podcast, free. Yoto Radio, day and night, free. Even if you had 0 cards, your kid could still listen to something every day. Toniebox and StoryPod don't really have an equivalent to that. So purely on value, Yoto gives you more for the money. Is the Yoto Club membership worth it? At the moment, there are 3 tiers. Explorer is $5 a month, access to Yoto Originals, digital only. Collector is $10, 1 club credit per month, 10% off everything, free shipping over $15. Collector Plus is $17 for 2 credits. If you're planning to buy at least 1 card a month anyway, Collector makes sense. You'll likely come out slightly ahead, and unlike Toniebox where they curate for you, with Yoto Club you choose exactly which cards you want. We used Collector for about 6 months. It was fine. We don't have it anymore, which is also how I can describe my gym membership. So the money part is pretty straightforward. Let's move on to questions about using the Yoto Player. Will Yoto replace reading or encourage it? Parents online are genuinely worried about this, and I get it. My 10-year-old does favor listening to the Yoto over reading at bedtime, which, full disclosure, is probably better than what I was doing at 10, which was not reading at all unless it was a school assignment. But here's what I didn't expect. He's actually more curious about books now. He'll get a card for something, finish it, and then want the actual book or the next one in the series. So no, it didn't replace reading in our house. I actually got a comment on one of my videos saying that audiobooks activate many of the same language and comprehension parts of the brain as reading. I'm not an astrophysicist, but it's worth looking into if you're curious. What age is the Yoto actually for? Yoto says 3 to 12 plus. I'd say 4 or 5 and up, and here's why. The Yoto has the most advanced controls in the space. Dials for volume and track skipping, a card slot, a power and pause button. A 3-year-old can do it. Yoto takes a little more coordination. Where Yoto really takes off is 7, 8, and older. That's where the other players stop offering a lot of options. And Yoto, in my opinion, is just getting started. My 10-year-old has 0 interest in the other players. This is the only one he'll touch. Yoto or Toniebox, which should you buy? Both are great. Here's how I break it down with 3 boys at 10, 8, and 2. If your kid is 7 or older, go straight for Yoto. If your kid is under 7, Toniebox makes a lot of sense. Those collectible figurines are genuinely fun, and my kids played with them even when they weren't listening. If your kid is 3 or under, honestly consider the Story Pod, which is now Eddie. Its figures keep playing even when the kid pulls them off. But here's the edge for Yoto. Toniebox figures get lost under couches and mixed in with other toys never to be found again. Plus, when you lose the figure, you lose the content. With Yoto, every card purchase also gives you the digital version in the app. So when the card disappears, you've still got the content. What can the Yoto do besides play stories? This is the question most parents don't even think to ask, probably because its competitors don't have an answer. You can set alarm clocks, you can program an OK to wake light that changes color. There's a night light, a toothbrush timer, white noise built in. You can link any podcast with an RSS feed to a card. You can use it as a Bluetooth speaker. It even has a room thermometer. In the space, Yoto does more than just play content, and none of the other players come close on this. It's basically the Swiss Army knife of kids' audio, and I cannot say it enough, the Yoto Daily podcast is worth the price of admission, and it's free. There's also a daytime and nighttime radio station that's completely free. Can you make your own cards, and is it worth it? Yes, and this is my kids' favorite thing we do. You buy blank, make your own cards, $18 for a 5-pack. I've recorded myself reading bedtime stories. We've made up silly stories where the kids are the main characters and their actual names are in it. You can record straight into the Yoto app or upload a voice memo. And unlike the competitors, Yoto lets you move audio around, relink a card, build playlists, swap content. It's flexible in a way the others just aren't. It takes a little work up front, but for basically $3 a card, the value is ridiculous. And the latest thing I've started doing is recording myself as I'm reading them new books at bedtime. Then I load the recordings onto a card and they can listen to it again whenever they want. So you've no doubt decided you're getting a Yoto Player by now. The last hurdle is just picking the right one and getting it set up. Yoto Player or Yoto Mini? Which size should you buy? Full size is $110. Mini is $80, so you save $30. Both have 32 gigs of storage, both charge USB-C, both have the same app and free content. The difference is the full size has a night light, room thermometer, wireless charging capabilities, and stereo sound. It's acoustically engineered and genuinely sounds better. The Mini has mono sound and it's way more portable. If this is living on a bedside table, get the full size and it will likely replace some other devices you keep in the bedroom already. And if it's going to live in the car or a travel bag, get the Mini. You're not losing much functionality either way. And finally, the question that came up more than any other while I was researching this. Does the Yoto work without Wi-Fi? Yes, but you need Wi-Fi for the initial setup and for linking any new card. Once a card is downloaded, it's stored on the 32 gig internal drive and plays anywhere. In the car, at grandma's, no problem. What doesn't work without Wi-Fi? The Yoto Daily Podcast, Yoto Radio, and use of the Yoto app. So, road trip tip, download your cards at home before you leave. So 8 months later, would I buy it again? Absolutely. It earns its shelf space every single day, unlike the second rice cooker we just bought. If I missed a question you're wondering about, drop it in the comments. Odds are another parent is asking the same thing. And if this was useful, consider subscribing. Every click counts for a growing channel. See you next time.